Hi, I'm Tara Lynn of Geek Saga Entertainment, here with my co-host Manny for the live recording of the Geek Saga Podcast's 150th episode.
So I'm Manny, and for this live recording, we'll be talking about the history and future of the podcast, and because it's October, also some spooky, spoopy Halloween-themed fun.
Before we get started, just a heads up that you can follow me and therefore all of the Geek Saga endeavors at a Geek Saga on Blue Sky, Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and YouTube.
And you can find me on Facebook and Instagram at Manissimo Art.
Just a couple other things. Oh my gosh, someone just pulled up to my house. My dogs are going to start barking. Okay, just a couple other house cleaning items before we dig in. If you're watching this as a webcast on Facebook, or can you hear them? I'm just going to wait for them to dissipate. Golly. Okay, just a couple other house cleaning items before we dig in. If you're watching this as a webcast on Facebook or YouTube, pretty please make sure to hit those like and or subscribe buttons. And if you're catching the audio only version on your favorite podcatcher, we could really use some more ratings, especially on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and would super very much greatly appreciate it if you could take a moment to mark the Geek Saga Podcast 5 stars wherever you're listening. Last but hopefully not least, we hope that you'll check out the Geek Saga Entertainment Patreon. We have a lot of tiers with just $3 a month, getting you the most prevalent perk of early access to podcast episodes. You can check it out at patreon.com/geeksaga_entertainment.
With all of that out of the way, we're going to kick into our discussion. Tara, how about you kick us off with how you kicked off the podcast?
Picture it. Orlando, Florida, 2017. So I'd been co-hosting a live webcast for The Geekiary, which is a website that I used to write for as well. It's The Geekiary, Geekiiary.com. Great website, by the way. And I've been co-hosting a live webcast with them for some time. I want to say we started it in like early 2015. But by the time I was living in Orlando in 2017, I was between full-time day jobs and trying to find ways to build my own business. Really, like, it started as my event planning stuff, but it became kind of a building my own brand, not just a business sort of thing. I just put out my second novel. I was organizing Ice and Fire Con and had been for many years. I was also at the time putting together the first ever Steven Universe fan convention, Beach City Con. I was doing some event planning consulting work and like little editing side jobs, and honestly just looking for more things to keep me busy as I struggled to find full-time work. So anyway, in March of 2017, I kind of soft launched what was at first just a live webcast show. And I say soft launched because from that point through early 2018, I only put out 3 episodes. They were all like, there was a generic one about cosplay, another generic one about conventions, but most importantly, the first ever Drinkin' Con pre-Dragon Con webcast was August 2017. So yeah, funny enough, the real like launch of the Geek Saga show, webcast or podcast, was slowed down / delayed because I did in fact start a new full-time job in the middle of 2017. But eventually I took the time to do a bit of research, test out some options for creating podcasts from my past panel recordings and from my live webcast. And then I just dumped like a slew of those into the podcast realm beginning in early February 2018. And I say dumped a slew of those because that month alone, I put out 11 episodes,
Wow.
Mostly consisting of panel recordings I've been sitting on from Dragon Con and Beach City Con in 2017. But yeah, I don't know. I wish I could say that like from there on out, I was posting regular episodes, but that was not the case. From the very beginning, in 2017, 2018, whatever you want to call it, until about mid 2021. I'm pretty sure I only released panel recordings from conventions and then the annual Drinkin' Con and Hangover episodes. What really got me into the swing of things was a combination of starting a separate and far more regular show, Sagas and Sass, which is we cover like genre literature. We've been on a very lengthy hiatus. Eventually it'll come back, but both myself and a couple of the other co-hosts had a lot of stuff personally going on. So that was the one that got kind of shuffled to the side. But yeah, I started Sagas and Sass in late 2020. And then I did my 20-year Walt Disney World College Program reunion series on the Geek Saga show beginning in mid 2021. So it was like a combination of like, I was already doing regular podcasts. So I kind of gotten into the swing of that. And then doing a somewhat regular series got me thinking like, like I should do more series like this. But what? Like I was kind of at a loss as to what to do for regular Geek Saga podcast content until not long before House of the Dragon season 1 aired and the idea for Hot D Takes popped into my head. And Manny, here's where I think you can jump in to tell your side of things, regarding Hot D Takes and 90s and 90s Cringe Factor and beyond, like how you joined in, because it started with Hot D Takes, but it's just...
Yeah, it just kind of kept rolling after that. So a few years prior to that, I did try my hand at some podcasting, but it was just very like, it was just it wasn't like the way you do it, because I didn't know how to like put things on Spotify and Apple Music and all that stuff. So I just like recorded audio, and I would just post it on like my Google Drive, and whoever wanted to listen to it wanted to listen to it. Nobody listened to it, but still I put it out there. So, and it was very just kind of like prehistoric. It was one mic, two people around the mic, and we would just kind of like chit chat and whatever. And we did all the basic stuff, like I did a lot of shitting on social media. I did, I talked a lot about, cosplay. I did movies. I did all that kind of stuff, which was cool, So then in the end, I tried doing some solo stuff or recording some solo stuff. And that's when I kind of realized that my strength was kind of working with other people, because I don't think I'm necessarily so great at the lead, but I am really good at the kind of banter and back and forth and kind of keeping the conversation going. I'm kind of more like a hype man than anything else, So this was around, it was probably around 2020 at this point, because it was very like politically charged at this point. So I tried to get into the political realm of that, to where I had this idea to where I was like, hey, you know what? Let's do this, right? Let's go ahead and I'm just going to invite people. And I'm like, I want you to just bring up some political subject and don't tell me anything about it. Like, I don't want to prepare for it. I don't want, maybe I know nothing about it. Maybe I know something about it. In the end, I just feel like everybody was so vocal on Facebook that I was just like, I just want to see people put their money where their mouth is. I want to get into a conversation about this. And maybe we don't agree, but maybe I'm wrong in something, and like, I don't know. I was just throwing stuff out there, but nobody wanted to get behind the mic. So I was like, okay, whatever. So I spent like the next year or so just kind of listening to other podcasts, how they do their format, and like trying to gain some type of personality in it, which I never quite found, So eventually I just gave up on it altogether. And then one day I'm scrolling through Facebook, and you put a post on there that is like, hey, I need somebody for a podcast who's watched Game of Thrones but hasn't read the books. And I'm like, I'm a little bit of a non-book reader myself, like, okay. And I passed through it like a few times, and I was like, well, I'm not going to do it. I don't think I can like commit to something like that. Like, I don't know, and then I saw that it was like 10 episodes, and I was like, well, maybe it'll be like whatever. And then finally I was just, after a drink or two, I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Like, I've always wanted to do this. I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to respond to it. And so we started doing the Hot D Takes, which, I was very nervous the first time around, because I'm like, well, maybe I'm just going to be boring. Maybe it's like not going to be great or anything. And then I'm trying to read things on the screen too, and I was like really bad. And I was like, oh my God, okay, I just got to like play it off like I know what I'm doing. But the one thing I had noticed probably after like the first or second episode, that I was like, man, we have good back and forth, like we have really good kind of chemistry here that's very natural, which was really cool, like I never felt like I was interrupting you. You weren't interrupting me. We got our points across and all this stuff. And as the series went on, it just got better and better. And then I remember at the end of it, I was like, well, now what? Because we have to wait like 2 years for season 2. And like clearly this went well enough that I'm like, well, I mean, I'm pretty sure we can do a season 2 and it'll still work. And that's when you had like reached out to me and was like, hey, do you want to like do something else, like in the meantime? And I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah, like no brainer. I was like, I don't care, whatever it is, whatever, I'm gonna do it, let's do it. And that's when you had the idea for the 90s and naughties, which is was a fantastic idea to me, completely appealed to me, because there's so many movies that like we watched back then and they were like okay, but then when you put them into kind of today's standard, it's like,
Yeah.
this is a little problematic, so I thought it was like really cool. And then we did that. And of course that went fantastic, and all the movies that we picked out were like terrible, but it was like, in the sense of like, it's problematicness, where it's like, oh, wow, I never really thought about that when I was watching it. But yeah, this is kind of a problem, And then when we got into, the idea for the media that made this, I mean, it was naturally going to be Battlestar Galactica, right? I mean, we're both huge fans. And we both have a lot to say about that show. So I'm like, perfect. This is great. Right up my alley. And yeah, we started doing that. And it was fantastic to, actually get to sit down and watch that entire series again, because I hadn't for such a long time. And just to get my points across, there was a time when I used to get shit faced and I was talking to like my nerdy friends and I would go on rants about Battlestar Galactica on certain episodes and all this stuff where they're like, all right, come get your man, like go, just put him to bed. He's going on a rant again, So, but it was great that we got to do that, and again, that went off fantastically, and then we got more in the pipeline for the future.
Yeah, we'll get into that in a bit. I did want to say, like, I actually, in kind of doing a little bit of like research, trying to remember things that we talked about, for future episodes and stuff in the past, I found our original conversation that like how 90s and naughties kicked off, which I thought was really funny because like I basically got drunk one night and watched She's All That for some reason. Like I don't even, I think maybe it had just come on, like it had just popped up on Max, like just been added to Max or to Netflix or something. And I'm sorry, HBO, whatever the fuck they're calling it these days. But it was, in the suggested like new things that they'd added. And so I watched it because I was the only one up. And I was like, sure, I haven't seen this movie in a million years. And I was like, oh, and don't get me wrong, like while some of these movies were definitely just really bad, some of them, like She's All That, it's still like a good, fun movie.
It's still a good movie. Yeah.
Mean Girls, also a good, fun movie.
Same thing, still good.
We also recorded an episode on What a Girl Wants that I still have yet to put out.
Oh, God, yeah.
Mostly because we recorded it like 2 years ago and I need to redo like the intro, like portions of the intro for sure. Or at least add like a kind of, voice note at the beginning that like, hey, we recorded this a couple of years ago. So, the content as a whole about the movie wouldn't have changed, but yeah, so I got drunk, watched She's All That and messaged you and was like, so what if we did a podcast where we watched all these old like 90s movies or 90s and early 2000s movies and just like shit on them a bit.
Yeah, and of course, and the second you said shit on them a bit, I'm like, I'm in. Like, I didn't even catch the first part of that. Let's do it, like
I'm pretty sure I made a graphic like the very next day, if not that same night.
No, and it was great because what a good idea, to like go back, like, and watch some of these movies, which I hadn't seen since that time period. Some of them I hadn't even seen. Like, what was the one that we watched, the Christmas one that I never watched?
Love Actually.
Love Actually. I never watched that one, and everybody watched that. So I was
I don't think you'd seen had you seen, I don't know if you'd seen Can't Hardly Wait or Never Been Kissed either.
I saw, well, no, maybe I didn't actually. You're right, because I know that Can't Hardly Wait, I never saw, because that was the one that I had a lot to say about because I had more questions than answers by the time I was done with that movie. Like I definitely didn't see that one. Yeah.
Well, I mean, and to be fair, like a lot of these movies, the ones that we watched and covered early on came out when I was in high school or like my first year of college. So it was like I saw them back then because they were the movies that were geared toward me. And you're a little bit older, not a ton older than me, but older enough than me that they wouldn't have really been things that you were like, yeah, I'm totally going to go to the movie theater in 1999 and see She's All That or Never Been Kissed.
Yeah, exactly. Those were things that that wasn't going to happen, for me. But I did see some of them just in passing and, because they were on television a few years later or whatever. But I was definitely familiar with them. I just never sat down to watch a lot of them.
All right. So yeah, that's how we got from episode 1 to episode 150. The funny thing is, like, the 100th episode happened to fall like in the middle of the summer last year, and so I did an impulsive hyper focus, like a solo episode where I talked about Red Dead for like 40 something minutes, and that was really fun for me just because like you haven't really played a ton of Red Dead, so it wasn't really something that we could like spitball, for in a podcast or whatever, but so that's why we're highlighting 150 instead of just 100. But honestly, whatever. 150 sounds cooler anyway, if you ask me. Now I think it's time to do our little special spoopy Halloween theme section. Yes. And we're going to start off with one of Manny's favorite traditions where he has to read things.
Yes, of course.
But I'm going to go first. When we were trying to, because I also did a solo Halloween themed episode last year that I read some like listener submitted stories and talked about like some of my favorite like Halloween memories from childhood and stuff like that, very specific Halloween memories from childhood and stuff like that. And some, memories I have of like traveling, going fun places like New Orleans for Halloween. So I wanted to stay away from that stuff. And one of the things that we started back in August, I think, on our State of the Saga episodes was Reddit stories. Mm-hmm. So I was like, wait, wouldn't it be fun to find a couple like Halloween season Reddit stories?
Yes.
And when I looked for things, the ones that kept coming up were Am I the Asshole stories.
Yes, I love it. Those are my favorite. I used to watch videos on YouTube of people just reading those because those were like, I never got into like the creepypasta stuff that people would do like on Reddit and stuff because it was so easy to discredit it within the first few sentences that I was just like, oh, this is bullcrap. But yeah, the Am I the Asshole or Am I the Antagonist is like literally the best.
So I'm going to go first and then Manny has one that he's going to read, and just, keep in mind that this is us reading things that other people posted on Reddit. So, this is not written by me, but the first one we're going to do is, am I the asshole for doing a group Halloween costume with my stepdaughters that their mother doesn't approve of? I, 35 female, am the stepmother to two lovely 10-year-old twin girls who I adore. I've been married to their father, 38 male, for 5 years, and we dated for 2 years before that. I consider myself very close to them, and we always have fun whenever they stay with me and their father. They recently asked what kind of movies I watched when I was their age, so it led to me digging out some of the old classics, most notably The Parent Trap. And let me be very clear that this OP is talking about the 1998 Parent Trap, okay, with Lindsay Lohan. So not the older Haley Mills one.
Yeah.
Of all the older movies I showed them, this one was their favorite. I think they got a kick out of seeing a movie about twins. They even delighted in the fact that, in their opinion, I look like Meredith Blake. That's the evil wannabe stepmother character. And the OP says, it's the hair, I think. No way am I as gorgeous as Elaine Hendricks, the actor. It has become an inside joke of us, with me often putting on her voice and acting the part while they fall into hysterical giggles. My husband has even gotten into it, playing the clueless Nick when we get into this playful spirit. The girls are staying with us for Halloween this year. They alternate who has them on holidays, and whoever has them for Halloween is in charge of the costume. The girls asked if I would do a group costume with them. I was touched and told them of course and asked them what they wanted to do. I should have seen it coming. They wanted to do the Parent Trap with them as the girls and me as Meredith. I found it harmless and agreed. My husband found it funny and said he'd even dress as Nick then. First of all, I love all of this. I love all of this. I love that these children have such a great relationship with their stepmother. And this sounds like a fucking fun idea. And I think this post was from about a year ago. And the Parent Trap with Lindsay Lohan kind of coming back into like the realm with her Netflix movies and stuff has had a little. And I think she also did she did a, not the Parent Trap, but the other one, Freaky Friday 2, I think. Freakier Friday or whatever. So yeah, I'm loving all of this, right? So OP says, I got a call from their mother today telling me she'd heard of the costume and didn't approve, that she felt it wasn't appropriate. I at first assumed she worried. I at first was touched and assumed she worried about their stepmother being portrayed as a wicked gold digger, and told her it was fine. It's just an inside joke that occurred and sparked all of this. That wasn't the issue, though. The mother didn't think it was appropriate for me to do a group costume with her daughters at all, and that it was clearly lazy and I was forcing it. Why else would her daughter want to do a costume from an old movie?
Weird. Yeah, like that's come on.
All right. So OP says, I got rather upset here, but tried to stay calm on the phone and told her that she might not approve, but it was harmless. And I'd been in the girl's life for 7 years at this point. My husband, who was in the room during the call, could see I was getting upset. So he took the phone off me and began to get into it with his ex-wife, telling her she could have all the issues she wanted, but it was an entirely proper costume for their age. And it had been the girls who suggested it. He reminded her that it was up to him what they dressed up as this year, and he'd approved of it. I got him to calm down as he was getting upset, and the call ended rather tersely. I just feel awful about this whole thing, and I wonder if I should just bow out of matching the girls in costume if it will prevent further problems. I just know this will be a bigger thing down the line. I agree, Jen. What a fucking stick in the mud.
Yeah, seriously. And I'm the kind of asshole that if that would have happened to me, I'm like, oh, guess what? Next year, I'm going to lean into this a little more. We're going to do a little more than just a Parent Trap.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
The idea that it's not appropriate is such a weird wording to use too. Like, because
it really is.
At first I hear like not appropriate, and I think like that she's going to be dressing these 10-year-old girls as like, I don't know, sexy mice or something. Mean Girls reference.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
But so I don't know, Manny, what is your verdict? Is she the asshole?
No, I mean, look, come on, doing the fucking Parent Trap. I mean, that's like the most like innocent possible thing to do. The kids love it, right? Because it's always about the kids, right? When you have kids in the mix, regardless of what age they are, so it's like, look, if they wanted to do it, and I think that was a great idea, then the husband wanting to kick in and being like, hey, I'll do the guy, like whatever. I mean, that's fantastic, like how can anyone shit on that? Like, I'm sorry, dude.
Yeah, I also agree, Jen. It's not, it's like this, the mom can't be upset because the stepmom isn't even playing the mom. She's not.
Exactly.
Sorry, man. I would love to know what OP looks like. I'm guessing she's blonde. Maybe she has some similar facial features to the evil wannabe stepmother from the movie. But like, yeah, I also obviously am. This person is not. OP is not an asshole. That was also the overall verdict, of course.
Yeah.
For the comments, I honestly, of the comments, like nothing really stood out to me specifically. So I'm not going to read any verbatim, but most of them centered around the idea that this is the mom being jealous and insecure, that backing out of the group costume because of the mom would actually make the mom look like the bad guy, especially if the girls know that's why OP, is backing out. That any further conversation about the situation should be between the mom and the father, which I also agree. This poor stepmom does not need to be attacked by this woman. And also there was a lot of back and forth from people being shocked that they now have to consider the 1998 Lindsay Lohan Parent Trap an old movie.
An old movie.
a ton of comments. And it's like, I mean, so I said this post was from about a year ago. So even if it was 2024, yeah, y'all, that was like 26 years ago.
Yes, it is the old one.
And yeah, Jen is in the comments saying she's just pissed the girls want to do a costume with a step-on. Exactly.
That's exactly what it is.
With that. Yeah.
Which exactly what it is.
But also, like, they have the kids for Halloween. Like, I would love to have seen a picture of this group cosplay, honestly.
Absolutely.
I
I'm
kind of want to
willing to
Google
bet.
it. I kind of want to Google
Yeah,
it.
I'm
Someone
willing to
Google.
bet it looked awesome, and that's what pissed
Yeah.
the mom off. They're like, "Oh my god, they look
Well,
so
I mean, this
perfect."
was before they even like, I would assume before they even had the, costumes like
Hmm.
planned out in terms of what they were actually going to wear. But, you just dress one little girl up in very prim and proper clothes, one little girl up in laid back clothes. And then you got the dad with his, I don't know, flannel shirts or whatever the heck he wore. I can't remember. I've seen the movie a few times, but it's been a while. And
Yeah,
Meredith Blake, like blonde hair, white suit or something. That's literally all you
yeah,
need.
exactly,
I bet
exactly.
you it looked fucking amazing. I hope they actually, it sounded like the OP was going to do it. So it, everybody told her she should. So,
Yeah, they should for sure, for sure.
all right, Manny, now it's your turn to
My
read a
turn.
thing. I'm gonna do you a little bit of a favor and put some paragraph breaks in here because there are none, and I didn't realize that till
Yeah,
now.
because
So there
unless
you
you
go.
want one really long
Yeah,
run-on sentence,
there
I
you
can
go.
read words. I can read words.
All right.
Okay,
So what is
so
your post title?
yes. Am I the asshole for dressing up as Batman for Halloween? I, 34 male, am married to my wife, 34 female, and we have 2 kids together. Every year, my wife family does a family theme for Halloween that we all dress up as. This year's theme is Barbie, any Barbie movie that there is. And my wife decided we would do Princess Charm School since it was her favorite Barbie movie growing up. I hate this theme and would rather go as something more manly that won't embarrass me in front of my neighbors and friends. After work one night, I stopped at the store and got myself a Batman costume instead. I let my I let my wife believe I was going as Barbie's love interest from the movie and would arrive later to the party because I was working late, when in all reality I was getting ready to wear the Batman costume. When I arrived at the party, my wife's sister happened to meet me at the door and got mad at me for wearing this costume. I explained that I didn't like I didn't like the theme, so I chose my own. At this point, my wife had found us had found us and started yelling about how selfish I was and how this is the one time a year that she gets to let loose and have fun with the theme. She told me to leave and I drove to a friend's house and am spending the night there out of anger. All of her family is blowing up my phone, telling me how and selfish I am and calling me every name in the book. I blocked them and told my wife I needed a couple of days to cool down. As I thought about it more, I can see how I was being a little selfish and should have stuck with the theme, but I don't think I'm an asshole for sticking to my own beliefs and having free will in this relationship. Am I the asshole? Okay, I have thoughts on this one.
I knew you would. This is why I chose it for you.
Yeah, okay, you're good. I see what you did here. Okay.
I have a couple runners up that I'm gonna give like honorable mentions to, but like I chose this one specifically because I was like, oh, I know, man, he's gonna have thoughts.
Yes. Okay. So I have been in similar situations before, right? Now, my thing, not recent, this would have been many, many, many of years ago, like right out of high school kind of situation. But other people picking the themes for something, right? Like, this is where I'm kind of torn on it, right? Like, number one, no one probably consulted the dude about the theme. And he was just like, I don't want to do Ken or Barbie, Barbie's boyfriend, whatever, Ken, Skipper, whoever it is. I can't remember who it is, but whatever, right? Doesn't want to do it. And he's like, I don't want to be forced into that kind of situation, right? To like do that. However, sometimes you got to take one for the team, if you love your woman, you're going to take one for the team and you're going to do it, right? You can always have your own separate Halloween party. Halloween party doesn't have to be on Halloween or whatever. You can do something else. Okay. Now, is he the asshole for just showing up into the Batman thing? I'm going to say yes. Okay, because he didn't discuss it prior. Now, I think it's hilarious personally, and if I told if I told Jen, "Hey, I'm going to have a family thing and the theme is going to be, you know, I don't know, Bob the Builder," right? And then she shows up like the guy from Saw, right? Like, I'm gonna be like, okay, hold on a second. Like, I'm not crazy about this. Like, I see what you're doing, but like, you just should have at least told me ahead of time so I could have like pre-warned people, you know? So in the end, in my personal opinion, is he the asshole? Yes, he's absolutely the asshole because he kind of surprised them with this. Do I think it's funny? Yes, but not appropriate,
Yeah, I mean, my verdict is absolutely he's the asshole.
Yeah.
I feel like the gender norm part of it and the "Ooh, it's not manly enough," meh,
Oh, I
like,
don't agree with that. Yeah, I don't agree
yeah,
with that.
I know you don't. I know you don't.
No.
I know you don't. But like that was the thing that stuck out the most to me, like at first. And so I read this post the first time, and the first thing that stuck out to me was it's not mammy enough. I don't want to dress for my Barbie movie. Bleh. You have fucking kids, dude. You have little I'm
Yeah.
guessing little girls. I don't remember if he said uh they have two kids together. He doesn't say if they're girls or boys or whatever gender they are, but let's go ahead and assume that they're girls because they're doing a Barbie movie. Um, but hey, again, could be any gender, whatever. Sounds like the kids were into it. Or if they weren't, they didn't care. It's a family
Yeah.
Halloween party. Like, you're not going out to a bar, but even if you were, who the fuck cares? Dress in that Prince outfit or whatever it is. Like,
Well, and that's where I more lean on him just kind of being an asshole because it's like if it's for your kid, for your kids, and this is why you're doing it, like just do the Ken thing, Like I dressed up as Luigi one time because my kid Alex dressed up as Mario. So I was like, yeah, sure, I'm gonna do like Luigi and like whatever because it was funny, like hey, that's cute, or I would do things like that,
yeah,
So, but again, if I didn't want to follow the theme, then I would just be like, look, I don't want to go because this theme is dumb, which I think personally is stupid. Like I wouldn't
right.
have bowed out. I don't care what theme it is. Like if it's a family thing and everybody's doing it, okay, you know what? I'm gonna play ball, right? Because I want that dynamic, that family dynamic. I'm going to do it personally.
Yeah. Yeah.
But showing up as a character, this is not part of Barbie. There is that cynical side of me that does find it a little funny.
I mean, I think like I would maybe find it funny if he had just put his foot down and like straight up told her ahead of time, like, I'm just not doing this. I still think it's ridiculous that he wouldn't, like you said, but at the
I
same time, like,
I think in order for me to come to a real conclusion here is I want to know their relationship backstory.
yeah,
Because if she's someone who controls every single thing that is like, this is what we're doing, this is how we're doing it, this is, you know what I'm saying? And that's happened multiple times throughout the entire relationship where the guy feels like he's lost any type of identity or control. This could be him, you know, screaming out for attention, is what it is too. I need more backstory here.
I mean, I think that like I don't know. I just keep going back to like I would rather go with something more manly that won't embarrass me in front of my neighbors and friends. Grow up, grow up.
Look,
Stop
I'm one of
fucking
those.
conforming to gender norms and being a dick about it on top of things. But I don't know. I again like this guy's an asshole no matter what. But the first thing that stuck out to me about it was this like, oh, I need to be like this is manly enough for me.
Yeah, that's dumb because like if I didn't like I don't like Ken. I just don't. And if the theme was Barbie themed, then I would probably show up as pink Barbie cowboy hat Barbie, and be like, "Hey, this is my costume. I'm gonna just show up as Barbie," like whatever, like I would have still played ball with it though. I wouldn't have done that. That's why I feel like I'm like the guy's either an asshole or there is some kind of like more dynamic backstory going on with the relationship that led
Yeah.
up to this moment.
Yeah, and I don't discount the fact that, like, if he's in a relationship where he feels like every part of his life is controlled by his partner or, well, by his wife, I guess you wouldn't even call that person a partner at that point. Like, then
Yeah, right.
there's some of it that's a little bit more understanding. I'll be honest though, I don't think that was the case just based on the way this whole post was written and also the comments and the few that he was like responding to. I again that like I'm not gonna go verbatim comments because
Mhm.
like there were definitely some standout ones, but for the sake of this being a discussion between like all of us, it's best to just summarize them. There are a lot of people getting on the OP about his whining over the possibility of dressing up as a not manly enough character. Thank you. There were plenty of people who said the biggest issue here was the lying and just showing up in a different costume.
Yeah.
A lot of people like also called him out on his manipulation and his selfishness. Like, this isn't just you and your wife. This is because this is also the kids. And
It's the kids.
As far as we know, like these kids, I mean, he's only what did he say, 34, and his wife is, I don't know if he says, he and his wife are both 34. Those kids, they can't be that old. I mean, I suppose they could be like 15 or 16, but I'm fairly certain that they are not, just based on, the way he,
if they were younger, if they were like young kids, then
I'm thinking they were.
Yeah, that would have been extremely problematic. Like don't do that, dude, and in the end it's like if you are kind of rebellion like that, like why are you gonna show up as Batman also, bro? You should have picked something better, something that's more like, but the manlier part of it, it's like, dude, there's nothing more manlier than having no ego and going as just Ken and like doing that for your kids and your significant other. I'm sorry, to me that's manly, and if you don't do that, you're just gonna be that, you're not being manly, you're just being a little bitch or a little brat, like.
I mean, this isn't at all the same thing, but like we had always done, like we always did big like themes when I was living out in California, because like our neighborhood and our immediate neighbors were, even though they didn't do the same themes as, like we were all super into Halloween. So we did like full themes with the kids didn't really get into it, but like Dean and I and our friend Carlos and our friend Aaron, and Aaron and I were pushing so hard for our theme to be Ted Lasso a couple of years ago, because like we both really love the show. But Dean and Carlos were like, we don't watch that show. And we were like, well, you could watch it and you'd probably love it. We're not watching a sports comedy. Blah, 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 blah. It's not our thing. Okay, fine. You know what? We're not going to force you to do, like, that's more understandable, because it's like, we really want to do it, but you guys don't watch the show. You don't want to watch the show. It's not the type of show you want to watch. Fine, whatever. You're missing out. And you suck for not wanting to watch. I mean, I'm joking. I'm being like, I don't really mean that, but also if you haven't watched Ted Lasso, you're missing the fuck out. But yeah, that's a little bit like more, that's the understandable version of this situation. So yeah, anyway, the verdict was yes, this person was the asshole. I think generally it seemed like there were definitely a lot of people who were like, yeah, the not manly enough thing makes him an asshole, but it seemed like the vast majority were more like, you're pretty much the asshole for lying and saying you were going to do it and then showing up in a different costume, because that is fucked up. Like, that's not up, like it's like there's in the comments that, people have been saying like, well, what if he like came as Barbie Batman? That would have been great. Honestly, it wouldn't have gone with the theme entirely, but like, Batman with a tutu or something. I don't know. Like, that could have possibly worked, but that's not what he did. He had to do manly Batman costume. I don't know. Whatever, man. Yeah.
He's the asshole there.
So I had two runner-ups. One was someone asking if they were the asshole for over decorating the outside of, quote unquote, over decorating the outside of their home and their yard for Halloween, because a neighbor got nasty with her about it, saying it made the rest of the neighbors look bad, but like not for the reasons you'd assume. This neighbor was saying like, it makes us look bad, but like people are busy. Like not everyone has time to decorate like that.
Oh.
Lol, what?
Yeah, what?
Like, anyway, the verdict there was not the asshole, obviously, but like,
obviously, yeah.
Also, what? What?
That's terrible. That's like, well, I cut my grass.
Your house looks too
early.
Cool, and like my kids think it's too cool, so like I'm gonna bitch at you for being too cool. Like, I'm sorry, but I get it. People don't have the time, right? They don't, but or the money maybe, but like, but. Apparently there ended up being like some neighborhood Facebook argument about it or something, but it turns out that this person who was complaining was like a problematic neighbor anyway and had been for years. So,
okay,
shocker.
Well, yeah, that makes sense. Shocker. Big shocker.
The second one that was a runner-up was a guy asking if he was the asshole for throwing a fit when he lost a costume contest at a friend's Halloween party, like a house party, to a dog.
Yeah.
He was whiny because he made what he claims was a really good One Piece, the anime costume.
Mhm.
And he got second, while someone's dog in a Walmart or Party City pirate costume got first. My first thought was like, who the fuck cares? Like, you still got second. Like, and also it's a house party. This isn't like you're at Dragon Con competing in the fucking
Yeah.
costume contest.
Yeah.
So yeah, first thought was who the fuck cares? My second thought was yes, he is the asshole. Like,
Yeah, he's the asshole. He's at the wrong party.
yeah,
That's what it
sure
comes
enough,
down
that
to.
was the verdict, but also like,
Yeah.
who cares?
Yeah. I mean, it's
yeah.
literally
It's
like
a doggo. Of course, the doggo will win. As
exactly. It's a
Josie
dog
said.
in a costume. Like there's, that's adorable, so that's always gonna win. So, and
I wish I
again,
could get one of my dogs to wear a costume. They would hate it.
but like seriously, bro, like why did you show up to the party for this costume contest? Like did you really bring your A game for this? Like come on, dude.
Apparently. I mean, I don't know. Like,
They must not get out very much to these kind of things.
yeah. Yeah. Okay. So moving on, I'm gonna start off this next part with like just do you have any memories of Halloween season events? And I'm focusing on this because this isn't really something I got into a lot in my
Mhm.
solo episode last year, but like haunted hay rides, corn mazes, pumpkin patch, which I feel like is a weird California thing, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Haunted houses, like Netherworld is the one that popped into mind, even though I've never been there. It's not far from you, I'm pretty sure.
Mhm. Yeah, it's
Or
not.
like special themed nights at theme parks, like Disney's Mickey's Not So Scary, Universal's Horror Nights, Six Flags Fright Nights, anything like that.
So I've never gone to any of the theme park ones because when I was out doing Halloween a lot and all this stuff, I was younger and I mean, back in the 1930s, none of those things existed, you know? So we didn't have things like that, right? So generally my Halloween memories really came a lot more from middle school than anything else, right? Because that was the time when we would go out and like wreak havoc, right? Because it was that period, 1932, 1935, whatever it was, where they just kind of let us run free and do whatever we wanted, so we would go around, we would egg cars, trick or treat as adults, like so it was but it was a lot of fun. It was fun hanging out with your friends, and then the cops started like telling you to go home like at 10:30, 11 o'clock, because sometimes it was on a school night. You got to see all your friends getting dressed up, and like that was cool, so
And did you guys have like, I don't know, haunted hair rides or anything? I mean, Miami, I'm guessing.
no,
No.
we had nothing like that. We had zero like that. I did throw some really cool Halloween parties when I was older, when I was in Miami, but that was it. We didn't have any like event places. Like I know that we had like a strawberry patch up the road and that they would do like some Halloween themed stuff
Mhm.
at the time, but I never got to go. So, but no, I never did any theme. I know everyone talks about the theme park stuff, and I've been wanting to do them for a long time now, where I'm like, I want to go to like Halloween Horror Nights and like all this
Mm.
stuff. And they had one that was like in California where they did like a Blumhouse theme, like
Mm.
horror thing. And I was like, damn, I would love to go to that. Like that would be awesome, but never did.
Yeah, I grew up in the middle of nowhere, Connecticut. So like when you think of Connecticut, people usually think of like the Connecticut that's near New York City. That was not the part of Connecticut that I grew up in. I grew up in
Yeah.
North Central Connecticut, and actually about 15 minutes from my house, literally
Mhm.
any house I grew up in, there was this farm, Elm Knoll maybe is what it was called. I could be wrong about the name, but they did haunted hay rides, but it was like you couldn't make a reservation, right? Like you
Yeah.
just had to show up and then you would wait like 4 to 6 hours. to
Yeah.
get on this haunted hayride. I've never been like a haunted house person. I've never really been scared by that type of stuff. Like, as long don't touch me. I don't want you to touch me. What usually they can't, right?
Yeah.
So for me, it was more like funny or whatever, but my friends always wanted to do it. So I did it a couple times. And it was fun because I was with my friends and, but the waiting, my God, like the
Yeah.
waiting was just absolutely insane. And, then I lived in, I went to college in South Central Virginia, about an hour from Lynchburg, which is where Liberty University is. And Liberty, I don't know if they still do it, but they used to do a giant like haunted house thing. I never went to it because the one time the guys with at the time tried to take me, like we tried to go with a couple of our friends and the line was like 6 hours long or something. And we were like, fuck this. No. But the funny thing about it was a Halloween, like actual, like supposedly really, really good haunted house.
Mm-hmm.
But they at the end, they bring you into a room and tell you you're all going to hell and give you like tracts, like biblical tracts, because it's Liberty University. So, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. And then I've done all of the Disney, the Universal, and the Six Flags one. The Six Flags one, I mean, I grew up, I don't, not to beat a dead horse here, but I grew up because I grew up in North Central Connecticut, I was about 40 minutes at most from Six Flags New England, which when I was a child was just called Riverside, but then it got bought out by Six Flags and became Six Flags New England. So they had their Fright Nights thing. I had a friend who was an actor in like some of the singing and dancing shows that they had there. So like I went and saw him a few times. Nice. I'm pretty sure the first time I rode a roller coaster was actually at a Six Flags Fright Nights because I'd been so scared of them my entire life, and my friends just literally bullied me onto it. And now like I love roller coasters, but at the time I literally had to be bullied onto it.
Funny tidbit about with me and roller coasters is I've never been on a roller coaster and nobody bullied me into it, but I became the purse holder, where I was the guy on the ground floor and they're just like, oh no, hold all our stuff. So I'm sitting there with wallets and purses and bags and stuff because I was that guy. They were like, oh no, we don't want him to ride because then we got to carry our own stuff in this roller coaster. I just never wanted to throw up is what it was. Like I don't have any type of fear of roller coasters, is that I don't want the embarrassment of coming off of it. And if I got sick, that's more detrimental to me than any type of fear I can have.
So have you never been on one?
Never. No, never.
Oh, do you get car sick or anything?
No, I think that I would be able to handle roller coasters really well. I think that it's like, again, it just came down to like not wanting to get sick, because a lot of my friends would go and they would get sick. So I don't know how to weird. So I would just like, and then also I don't, coming from some of these places where I, with these roller coasters, like I don't want that to be the way that I die, knowing my luck. Like that's when the bolt is going to come loose when I get on it. And I don't want to die on
some
one
Final
of those
Destination shit.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. I'll. It's like, you know what, dude? They got VR roller coasters now. I'm fine. I'm good. Thank you.
Yeah, I worked Disney's the Mickey's Not So Scary Party when I was on my college program. I worked that a lot. I've only been to it not as like a cast member once. It's cool. Like it's overpriced as fuck now, and I don't think I would pay for it now. The last time I went was like 12 years ago. Horror Nights I've also only been once. The Horror Nights is like, it's another thing. It's like you have to pay for a park ticket. Not all of the rides are open. And then on top of that, like the haunted houses have very long waits unless you pay like an additional $100 and something. And this was like years ago that I went, but it was like another like $130 or something for their like express pass. And I was like, I don't care enough. So, all right. Now we're gonna do a sort of like, well, actually, no, this is your part. So let's get into our next section here. This one.
Now we're going to do a sort of rapid fire questionnaire. What is your favorite Halloween candy? Like favorite that only comes out at Halloween. However, favorite to get while trick-or-treating will suffice. What's yours?
Reese's Pumpkins is my favorite Halloween candy. Like you don't get those while trick-or-treating, but
Mhm.
I would say that probably like trick-or-treating wise, my favorite to get would be like Snickers,
Hmm.
like mini Snickers, because like they're not gonna get a Reese's pumpkin while you're trick-or-treating. It's like
Yeah.
$6 for 6 of them or something.
Yeah. That makes sense.
I see what your answer is, and I am ready to fight you on.
Yeah, so let's just kind of like glide into it first because there's some that I forgot to put in here. Okay. So number one, Skittles, because they'll always be my favorite. I like Skittles. And I like Starburst. Those are the ones that I like to get. However, I may have been known to dabble in the candy corn a little bit. Okay. So
Do I even
for
know you? What is wrong with you?
for our last podcast episode together at the 150th podcast episode, yes, I like candy corn, so eat it. Okay.
I cannot believe it's like eating just little tabs of wax. Like I don't understand. I don't understand.
I know, but it's like I mean, wax makes good candles. Why can't I make good candy also?
Oh my
You
god.
know?
That is the Manny quote right there. Wax
Yeah.
makes good candles. Why can't it make good candy also? Somebody make a note. Somebody that's not me make a note that at 51 minutes and
guarantee
19 seconds, we got a great quote from Manny.
I guarantee you Jen has already written it down at this point, okay? She is always Johnny on the spot with that.
Oh my god.
Oh man.
All right. Next question. Favorite horror movie. So I said probably Barbarian,
Mhm.
but I was like thinking strictly horror movies. Your answer has me like, oh god, now I've like just left off on all of the, great other ones because I was thinking like just basic strict horror movie.
Yeah.
So what are yours?
So, because you're right, because there is almost like two. When you think horror, there's like Halloween horror, and then there's like horror movie, right? So, for me personally, one of my favorites is probably Event Horizon or Alien, right? Because like I love sci-fi and I love space, but space is really terrifying, which has its own fear factor within itself, and then you throw in some horror stuff on top of it, then I feel like that makes it like more, right? Because there's really no escape, right? Like when you watch a normal horror movie, for me, they make so many stupid mistakes where I'm like, man, you could have been gone, right? However, in theory, if I'm on a spaceship or space station, there really is no way for me to get off that ship, right? So whatever it is, whether it's like some interdimensional being like event horizon, or like a xenomorph like an alien, like one way or another I'm gonna have to fight that thing, right? Because I can't just run away. You can run away from Jason, right? Because it's like, dude, he's only at this camp. If I can jump that fence and get to the 7-Eleven, he's not gonna follow me there. Like I just have to get there. But when you're on a spaceship or something like that, you're kind of screwed. You're gonna have to fight that alien at some point.
Yeah, I mean, I had totally like not even thought of like I love the Alien. I love the Alien movies. Well, I love Alien and Aliens, but
Yeah, the
like
first two. Yeah. Mhm.
if you're gonna say like Event Horizon was fucking Sphere. Sphere is also a pretty fucking
Yeah, Spear
scary
is another
movie.
one.
Uh,
Absolutely.
that
Absolutely.
that I would consider it's sci-fi horror again.
Yeah.
But
Sci-fi
yeah,
horror,
no,
yeah.
but yeah, Event Horizon, that movie scared the shit out of me. Like
Yeah.
Barbarian doesn't really necessarily scare the shit out of me. I think it's just a really well done
Yeah.
movie.
Yep.
Just because it's just such it's like awkward situation turns
Yeah.
into horror situation, and then all of a
Yep.
sudden they're like, wait, now we're in LA listening to this like upbeat song with this guy.
Yep.
And like yeah, it's I like Barbarian for like the twists and turns that it
Yeah.
takes. But it's still, scary. But yeah, Event Horizon, fuck yeah. And also, yeah, Sphere. Sphere.
Yeah,
So
Sphere. I didn't even think about Sphere, but you're absolutely right. Sphere for sure. What about a television show?
okay, so we had to decide limited series count on this.
Limited series, yes.
If we're talking about like something that truly frightened me, Haunting of Hill House.
Yep. Okay. I didn't even read yours when I wrote mine down, but yes,
I saw that you
we're on
had
the
the same
same page,
answer.
right?
And like I think it's a
Yeah.
little bit trite, and I will give an honorable mention to The Fall of the House of Usher on Netflix. If you have not watched that, definitely do. It's got the president from
Yes, it
Battlestar
does.
in it.
Yes.
It's a really good show, and also pretty, it's more like, it's probably more like gory frightening than like haunted frightening, but I started watching Haunting of Hill House when I lived on my own, and I literally couldn't. I got like 4 episodes in, and I was like, I can't watch this. And I
Yeah,
didn't finish it until I moved in with Dean.
yeah, it was the first show that gave me like goosebumps when I was like watching it, because
Mhm.
there was an eeriness to it. There was a really extreme eeriness to it, and there's a few scenes in it that really like doing jump scares right, and like things that just freak you out, that give you the ickies, like they did really good. Did you ever watch the second series of that? Because
Haunting of
the fall of
what? Something Bly Manor.
yeah, Bly Manor. So Bly Manor is based off of a
I've
book that
watched
I
that
can't
too.
remember. I can't remember who the author is, but it's like the turning of the screw is what it is, right? So it's like it's about the slow maddening is what it is. And when I watched that show, I don't know if they intentionally did it, but coming out of The Haunting of Hill House, I was expecting something else with it. And
Hmm.
as I got more into the series, of that one, I felt myself going crazy because I'm like, when the fuck is something going to happen? When is it going to happen? What are they talking about? And
Yeah.
then when I put two and two together, I was like, okay, if they did plan it the way I'm thinking of it, then these people are absolute geniuses because it's about that concept of the turning of the screw. Like the more I watched, the more like maddening it got for me, and I was like, oh, this is actually pretty smart. But the Fall of House
Yeah.
Usher, I haven't watched yet, so
Um, so Turn of the Screw is by Henry James. Don't
sounds
quote me
familiar.
on don't quote
Yeah,
me on that,
I
but I'm
don't
gonna
know, but
I think
no.
it's Henry James. And also, if you haven't seen Midnight Mass yet, I would, it's by the same people. I would
Mhm.
rank Haunting of Hill House first, Bly Manor second, and Midnight Mass third. Not that Midnight Mass is bad. It's still a good show, but
Yeah.
it's definitely worth watching.
Okay.
But yeah, Bly Manor was definitely like, I liked it, but I agree with you. It was like, when is something gonna happen?
Yeah, it was maddening is what it was. Like
All right. Favorite past Halloween costume.
favorite past Halloween costumes. Okay, so I got a funny story with this one.
Preferably of yours, but if it's somebody else's, that's fine too.
No, it's of mine. So when I was living in Miami and I was getting ready to move to Georgia, we used to have these we used to call them the Alienware parties, right? Because I worked at Alienware Computers, and I got real chummy with a lot of people, so I started throwing these parties that everybody would show up to. We would have like 50 people, like at my parents' house. It was a nightmare, but we all had a great time. So this was right before I had left. So I told everybody, I'm like, this is the last Alienware party. This is it. So they're like, oh, well, it's Halloween, and it's your party. So you better do something good, like do something really good or whatever. So I wanted to do something that was like, that people wouldn't expect. Now, when I was thinking about this, I happened to be watching Kill Bill at the time, right? So I said, okay. So there's a character there called Go-Go, right? With her ball and chain thing, and she's dressed as like the schoolgirl and stuff. So I was like, I know. This is something that nobody would expect me to do. So I went to Goodwill and I found the entire outfit. And I went full throttle to where like I shaved my legs, I had the knee-high socks, I bought like a really good wig for it. I spent a long time doing makeup. I spent when I was working at the sign shop in Miami that I literally engineered one of those ball and chain things to look just like it and to have the same thing. It was probably my first legitimate start to finish cosplay is what it was. It's where I literally spent time finding everything. And I remember, I dressed it. Some people knew I was doing it, like two people. That was it. And I remember one of my friends shows up to the party and I am leaning over the fridge to get a beer. Now, I don't know how to lean over in a skirt because I just never wore them before, right? So I'm leaning over and my
You
friend
don't.
comes in.
You don't. If it's a short one, you just don't.
Yeah, you don't. So I have no idea what I'm doing and I'm leaning over there, and I was a lot skinnier and a lot better looking back then. So, and one of my friends walks in, it's a close friend of mine, and I can hear in the background, like, oh, like talking to some people and being like, oh, damn, who is that? Like, because they had no idea that it was me leaning into the fridge trying to get a beer. And I turned around and just started cracking up. I was like, ha, 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 whatever, and it was funny, but it was a good, like, I don't know, it was really cool. And I people got very handsy with me the whole night, which
Mhm.
was kind of weird, but
Yeah, welcome to being,
yeah, it was weird. It was a lot of women that were getting handsy with me, but like I mean, look, I looked cute, so I mean, I probably would have got handsy with me too, but that was my like most memorable cosplay I did just because of the entire situation of it. I just thought it was funny, and how many people like came up to me and spoke to me and didn't know that I was Manny. They
Yeah.
thought I was somebody else because also I have a sister that looks a lot like me also, so people probably thought I was her, but it was like no, no, just me.
This one's really hard for me. I don't know. This one's really hard because like I had so much fun doing like the group costumes in California and stuff, but like probably this is weird. Probably my favorite one was I did Kenny Powers one year. And
Mm.
I was actually in Atlanta for Halloween that year and I went to like I don't know, some bar crawl or something. My
Mhm.
the dude I was with at the time kind of planned it, but like um and I guess it was I jokingly called it Jenny Powers because I was still like wearing makeup and stuff. Do you know the show Eastbound and Down with Danny
Uh,
McBride?
yeah, I've never watched it, but I know of it. I'm
Yeah,
familiar.
yeah. It was a very comfortable and fun costume. Like other than I had to wear a curly black mullet wig, like otherwise it was just like his Eastbound and Down like
Yeah.
jersey and like baseball, like tight little baseball pants. So I was like, I looked cute. Like even with the wig, I looked cute. Okay. And it was just a fun, like when people got it, they really got it and really loved it. And also Atlanta on Halloween in like the 20, teens, like, and
Mhm.
this was like this was when the show was kind of at its peak too, I think, or I
Mm.
want to say it was in like the third season or something maybe, but um so yeah, that's probably the one that sticks out most in my mind. Even though maybe was it my like favorite best one ever? I don't know, but that's the one that sticks out the most. So,
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
right, next question.
Nice. This is a you question.
Well, it's your highlight.
Oh, it's my highlight.
Yeah.
Piece of zombie media.
Yeah, I separated this one out because zombies are Halloweenish and also feel
Yeah.
very separated from generic Halloween stuff. You don't really do zombie stuff though, do you? I realized that after I wrote the question.
Yeah, I do exactly zero zombies. Like I don't care about it. They don't scare me. I have zero feelings towards them. I know people are like, "Oh my gosh, like zombies." I'm like, I don't care. Like and I wish I did, and I've tried, like the only zombie thing I watched that I think that I like was like, "Oh, this is like interesting," was like the 28 days later or whatever, like when that came out.
Mm,
That I was like, "Okay, cool." But I tried Walking Dead. I tried Night of the Living Dead. I tried all of those things, and I was like, this does zero for me. I am not scared. I don't care. I'm just indifferent. I don't know what it is.
you've played Last of Us though.
I played Last of Us and I appreciated it for its storytelling factor and like its playability, obviously, because it was a fantastic game. But that was about the most, like zombie-ish stuff I can get into. Like because I was just like, or look, there you go, iZombie, right? At least
Yeah.
that was charming, like
Mhm.
that was like charming to where I was like, okay, but like when you're talking about just straight up zombie stuff or whatever, I just don't care. I just and I will appreciate that Walking Dead did not focus on that. Like it's not just about zombies, it's about
Yeah.
the society that takes place during a zombie like, whatever the hell shit going on. But I just never, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like, I sigh. It is like early Walking Dead.
Yeah.
Yes, there is a ton of great like zombie themed media. I love Last of Us, the game, and
It was a good game. That
also
was a very good
season 1 of the show was so fucking amazing. But
game.
I just always go back to like the first like couple or maybe few seasons of Walking Dead. Like it's just something like it's something I watched like just randomly, like usually late at night when I'm like, what do I need to like just have something on? I've probably watched the first 3 to 4 seasons of I've watched the first 2 seasons of Walking Dead probably like 20 times at this point.
Yeah.
That might be hyperbole, but it's up there. I will also plug my own zombie apocalypse novel though, because I'm proud of it and I think it's great. Wink, wink. So I did write a book called How to Start Living in the Zombie Apocalypse that I've gotten some good feedback on and stuff. So yeah. All right. Final question. Spooky or spoopy piece of media, book, story, movie, TV show, whatever that you remember from your childhood? I'll let you go first on this one.
Well, I have one here that is the most memorable, but there was obviously like the first time I watched a Nightmare on Elm Street movie. I think it was part 3 it was The Dream Master. I don't remember which one that was. Part 4, I think, maybe part 3. I don't remember that one. Like I do remember that there was the Child's Play movie, the first one. But the one that I remember the most was the Exorcist. Right, I went to a friend's house, and they lived probably about a mile up the road, and we were like, oh, we're gonna watch a horror movie. So they just picked one that their parents had, and it was like The Exorcist. And that movie freaked me the fuck out. Like it super freaked me out. And then I had to walk home in the dark because there was no street lights at the time, going back to my parents' house. And I ran half of the way because I was just really scared.
Oh, poor Manny.
I know. Oh, Zombieland is good too. I enjoyed Zombieland. That was But I think I think they're onto something here because those are like more like almost comedies than anything else.
Yeah,
It's not like serious,
So for me, childhood stuff. This one's hard for me. Hocus Pocus, definitely up there. I read a lot of Goosebumps, and I definitely like remember quite a few of them, but I wouldn't say any of them were like my favorites. So I'm going with Bunnicula.
I don't know that one.
Oh, it's a book series, I think, about a vampire bunny that drains vegetables of their juices.
Yeah, I do know about that. Yes, I know exactly what that is.
Yeah, I know. Like, it's just like the fact that this exists. It's hilarious.
That's cute. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure you can't be a vampire unless it involves blood. But like,
yeah,
I fucking loved Bunnicula when I was a kid.
No, that's cute. That's super cute.
Oh man. Okay, so we're done with our Halloween stuff, I think. What's next?
Let's see. And finally, with 150 episodes in the can, we're going to chat about a bit about the future of the show.
Okay, so I'm going to kick this off by saying, like, to be honest, like, while yes, we will pick back up with our next Media That Made Us series eventually, the timing on when we'll be able to do an ongoing live series is a bit shaky due to my possibly having another period of time where I don't have a proper setup for live shows, as in like sound and privacy wise. However, that does not mean the podcast as a whole is on some sort of hiatus. I still have quite a few DragonCon panels and at least one past recording of 90s and Naughties that I already mentioned that I still need to edit. And we'll be continuing our monthly State of the Saga episodes, which like they're live for patrons, and then there's a video for patrons, and then like a couple weeks later I put a much more edited, like watered down version of those out as a podcast. And we'll hopefully be able to get in a couple other like podcast only recordings over the next few months. What those will probably include, Probably some more 90s and 90s cringe factor ups because we've kind of not done too many of those recently. Almost certainly a Hot D Takes style series focusing on the new HBO Song of Ice and Fire show, Night of the Seven Kingdoms, which is, I think it starts in January of 2026. So, and like, who knows, like maybe some other fun thrown in. Now, all that said, Manny, what are some other shows and or movies we've been discussing for Media That Made Us?
So the Media That Made Us, we have quite a few good ideas here. I think we have something to work with here. So we have the Gilmore Girls. I think that we've talked about X-Files and Gilmore Girls for a little bit now, but I feel like Gilmore Girls is kind of sticking a little more, you know. I did watch, I think, the first few seasons of it. It was enjoyable, you know, and the creator is someone that I like because I like the stuff they do. So, you know, one of the ones that I was excited about was like the magical mystical movie series that we were talking about. Those movies that from the 80s, early 90s, stuff like that, like Last Unicorn, Never Ending Story, Never Ending Story 2, Dark Crystal, Labyrinth, Princess Bride, things like that. And the witches also. You had included the witches in here, which we're going to mention because that definitely is
because I was like, wait, would this count? Because like I only saw it once. I would not say it is a Media That Made Us thing and that I loved it, but it certainly scared the shit out of me the one time I saw it. So I feel like it counts.
Yeah, exactly. So, and all those movies are like fantastic. I'm a huge fan of Labyrinth, huge fan of the Princess Bride, Never Ending Story, the first one anyway. I wasn't really crazy about the second one, but and then we talked about doing a similar series to the magical mystical movies, but more sci-fi, right? So we got Flight of the Navigator, Disney's Black Hole, Tron, E.T., The Last Starfighter, Explorers, right? Like we have a lot to work with on that one, just because of all the sci-fi stuff that I watched when I was younger.
E.T. also scared the shit out of me, so that would be fun.
E.T. was creepy, but
Dean is constantly trying to get me to watch Black Hole. I've never seen it, but
that is, see, that's it's kind of on brand because I was like young when that came out. I was like super young when that came out, but that was like a big deal, and I do remember watching it, but it was definitely like it's in that Tron era when Tron came out and stuff, like the style of sci-fi or special effects they were doing, stuff like that, so yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, you should watch Black Hole. It's really good. You did put a suggestion in here that I think is fantastic, at least for the first. I don't know how many movies there are of this. Just 4 or 5, I think. 5. I never watched 4 and 5, but for the Pirates of the Caribbean movie, right? Like I think doing the first 3 would be fantastic, like the way we did Lord of the Rings. I think that would be a nice.
Well, I mean, and for me, that's a huge Media That Made Us thing because I worked at Pirates when on my first Disney college program, so I definitely have a lot to love and a lot to say about, especially the first movie. But I mean, you got to go the whole trilogy at the very least. And all right, so and then 90s and naughties, we have a
lot of good ones in here.
I have lost my list that we originally started. I'll find it at some point. I just don't know where it is right now. So the ones that I know for sure we've talked about doing are Drive Me Crazy, which is Melissa Joan Hart, and what is his name? Adrian something. He was the guy from was it an HBO or Showtime show? The one about like where he's like an actor. And it's like him and all his, like he's a famous actor and it's like him and all his buddies. Entourage. The main character from that is in Drive Me Crazy. We also definitely talked about From Justin to Kelly, which is the season 1 American Idol nonsense.
I thought we were joking, but let's go ahead and do that. We should probably just start with
it. Is so bad. I am not joking that and then Confessions of a Teenage Drama Queen, which is another Lindsay Lohan movie. Some other ones that I'm like, we're tossing around, but I'm not sure about are go ahead.
I got 2 that I would love to do here.
Okay,
like number 1, Josie and the Pussycats.
Yes.
Josie and the Pussycats has a way better written, script than that movie should have deserved, honestly. Like, that was actually a very good movie, like, I watched it because it's about, like,
Dude, and the
corporate
music is pretty
sponsorship, all this.
great.
The music is great, and it's actually done. Who was the singer to that song from the 90s? I can't remember their name, but it's actually a popular singer. But yes, I had bought the soundtrack because the soundtrack was fantastic.
Same.
No, it's great, but the actual story plot to it about corporate advertising and all this kind of stuff was really on point and ahead of its time. That it wasn't just some kind of like, oh, movie or whatever the heck. The next movie is that movie Saved. That movie was really freaking good. Letters to Cleo, that was the band. There was a popular band in the 90s called Letters to Cleo. The singer is the one who did the soundtrack for Josie and the Pussycats. Because I was a Letters to Cleo fan. Like, I had the album, I used to listen to it a lot. That was the singer. But yeah, Saved, I think, is another one because Saved reminds me of what it was like coming to Georgia for the first time, coming to the Bible Belt. But it's a really, really good message, is what it is. Like, it's a really solid message, and
and I know we've definitely talked about Varsity Blues, but like I feel like that one has some pretty serious like shit that happens in it. So I'm that one's always, that's kind of like on the table of like if we do it, it'll be a way more eventually one. Idle Hands is a Devon Sawa movie from 99. Jawbreaker is another one from 99. Crossroads, which is like the Britney Spears movie, but I feel like I'm extremely tentative about that one because Britney fans can be cray. And like, listen, I am here for Britney Spears, okay? Like, I'm here for Britney Spears.
Absolutely.
But I do worry about like putting out a 10 things we hate about this movie about that one.
So I think with this one, we need to do like a different spin on it and be like 2 things I hate about this movie. Right? We just have to find 2 things. That's it. Because yes, like, Bring It On is a great movie. I love to Bring It On. I thought I watched that movie and Spike.
Oh, wait. Sorry, I was talking about Crossroads.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's okay. Yeah, I was still on the movies that we've talked about that are like, well, we might do them, but there's another one called The Prince and Me, which has oh my gosh, what's her name from 10 Things I Hate About You? The main who plays Kat in 10 Things I Hate About You. It's got her in it. But it's like the OG version of all those like girl falls in love with Ren and Prince movies from Netflix and Hallmark.
Oh, yeah.
John Tucker Must Die from 2006, where like the ex-girlfriends or girlfriends get together to ruin the life of the guy that's been cheating on all of them.
I did see that one, actually. I do remember that one.
Another one that I was like, LMAO, what about the possibility of the Twilight movies as a crossover between Media That Made Us? Not, and this is for me, but like not for good reasons or in good ways. Okay. Just to be very clear. And it's also sort of 90s and naughties. It's also sort of 90s and naughties because the first one came out in 2008 and each subsequent one came out each year after, wrapping up in 2012. So like that could be a fun kind of crossover Media That Made Us 90s and naughties.
I think that would be good because I only saw the first one, and I kind of was just like, okay, I watched the first one. I was like, clearly this is not for me personally. This was written for somebody else,
Yes.
So, but yes.
I mean, I also read the books. I also read the books because people kept suggesting them to me and they were people I trusted. And then I read the books and I was like, why do I trust any of your opinions on this?
Yeah.
Okay, so now the ones that we are worried about finding, Julia Stiles, yes, that she's the one from 10 Things I Hate About You, but also The Prince and Me. But okay, so possible movies that we're worried about finding 10 things we hate about this movie.
Yes.
Clueless, 1995. 10 Things I Hate About You, and you were mentioning Bring It On. Like, I guarantee you we can dig and find 10 things we hate about each of those movies because there are definitely some seriously problematic things in all of them. But I feel like the 10 things we hate about it discussion would be very truncated. Like, yes, we can list 10 things, but then we're going to get into like, but we also love all these things.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with that. Because there are movies like that. In particular, Clueless and Bring It On, that was like came out around that same time period, but they were so enjoyable and so good that I was like, I really can't shit on these.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it was when we did What a Girl Wants, the one that we still have yet to release, the recording from 2 years ago. Ye old recording. Like, we had a hard time coming up with, like, we both liked that movie. I mean, we liked Mean Girls too. We both love Mean Girls, but also
Mean Girls is great.
It's still not, you can still pretty, I mean, pretty easily, maybe, I don't know what's the right term, but you can still come up with things that are like super cringeworthy because they were from a long time ago, and a lot of the things that we saw a long time ago are just problematic no matter what. Like, no matter how good they are, there's still problems. I mean, listen, and Clueless, she literally gets together with her stepbrother. I don't care that they're not blood related. That's weird. And also, he's in college and she's like 16, but it's fine. I guess. All right. So I don't know. I wanted to, I have this note in here that's like, insert some sort of closing question or fun thing here, but I never got around to doing that.
Actually putting it in. I don't know. I think personally that we need to figure out, as opposed, like, we have a lot of these past movies, we need to do like a live watch of a movie that we can commentary on as we're doing it.
Yeah.
A movie that none of us have seen yet.
The problem is that's hard because you have to have like, you can't show it on the screen really. Like, we've done some live watches with the Bitching Dead, which was a Walking Dead series that I did with the Geek Saga. We've done a few live watches with that, but it's like you can live watch it and recording yourselves live watching it, but then you can only include very short clip. That is editing credits that myself does not have.
Yeah,
I love the idea.
Yes.
But I don't have the time or the energy or really probably the knowledge to do it, which is the problem. But I don't disagree. That would be a really fun.
I think that would be fun. Some kind of commentary, live commentary kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, I got nothing else. Like, I'm excited it's October. I love me some Halloween season. So I'm glad we're here. I cannot fucking believe that I finally have 150 episodes of this podcast, and also like the vast majority of them were in the past like 2 years.
Yeah,
maybe less.
But congratulations. I mean, that is a lot of episodes to have under your belt and continue going with,
Yeah, I kind of was like, wait, when did we? Now I'm kind of curious, like, when, because I honestly don't remember like what our first Hot D Takes episode was, because that was kind of, let's see, what was that, 2023 or 2022?
I think it was 2022.
Yeah. So when we first started Hot D Takes, 2022, that was episode 61.
Wow.
So you've been part of this for the vast majority of my episodes, like since episode 61.
And what is it now? 3 years now we've been doing this? 3 years.
Yeah, a little over. It was a summer of
2022. I really thought it was just going to be a one shot for Hot D Takes, and I figured you'd get another host after that, switch it up. But here we are, 3 years later, man.
Nope. When you vibe, you vibe.
Yeah, dude, exactly, man. And I'm looking forward for the next 3 years and the next fucking 10 years, man. So.
And also they're talking in the chat about like how to do a watch party. You can absolutely do watch parties. The question is like the ability to post it, which like a watch party wouldn't make sense as a podcast episode for obvious reasons, but also like you can only include like on video, you can only include like a certain amount of like clips from whatever you're watching without getting hit with copyright strikes, which I don't need. I think I've only ever had like a couple copyright strikes on my YouTube channel, and they were for cover songs that
It wasn't even your
I
fault,
put.
right? It was
No, I mean it was this is old. Like I haven't had a copyright strike. Knock on wood. I haven't had a copyright strike on the channel, on my YouTube channel, in a long time. And the only times I've had it were like, I mean, a decade or more ago when I posted videos of the band that I was singing with doing like singing songs. I don't really, I guess the music and the singing sounded like too much like what the original did. Like it was like, oh, this isn't a cover. It's like, you're just posting the song. I don't fucking know. YouTube is whatever, but yeah, so all right. Well, as we close out, we just want to thank you for joining us for the Geek Saga Podcast 150th episode. My God, I cannot believe it's been this funny. I want to talk about like how many fucking hours I've spent editing this. Like, this is the 150th episode. You want to know how many hours I spent editing these podcasts? Probably thousands of hours.
Yep, thousands.
My God. To keep up to date with our upcoming podcast episodes, make sure to follow at A Geek Saga on Blue Sky, Facebook, Instagram, maybe Threads, YouTube, whatever, or for early access to podcast episodes and some other fun content, check out our Patreon at patreon.com/geeksaga_entertainment. In the meantime, don't forget to like, subscribe, or rate us 5 stars wherever you're watching or listening. Thank you again, guys, for joining us. Bye.